Thank you very much. Today I'm speaking as a former local body mayor with a lifetime interest in, 50-year interest in politics, and I'm not a member of any political party. So I'm wanting, you've got my submission, but I want to speak about the process. And I'm speaking particularly to the National and the New Zealand First Committee members. I've been involved in very many negotiations over the years, and what happened with the coalition agreement was, in my opinion, not everything was well thought through. To remind the National and New Zealand First members, a number of times this proposed legislation has been rejected by your parties already. What's the difference? Did your voters vote for National or New Zealand First, or for the party which won 8% of the votes that's promoting this bill? The fundamental essence of this bill is it effectively reduces decisions down to individual benefits and the impact of cost-benefit ratios. It reminds me of the saying by Oscar Wilde of the fact that we know the price of everything and the value of nothing. And in local government, that's the thing we had to balance at all times. It places the power onto one minister who chooses their own advisors. That to me is dangerous. I would never, ever have operated that way as a mayor. And the government advisors that have reported to your committee have actually come up with the similar criticisms. And I found it distressing to observe the minister promoting this bill lambasting critics who are making submissions. Our council here in Christchurch had a report to the council. They had a debate, they had a vote, and there are no votes recorded against their submissions. And the minister called them Putins. Sir Geoffrey Palmer, a distinguished jurist, and others were told they don't understand lawmaking. I think there are very few people in New Zealand who understand lawmaking better than Sir Geoffrey. So let me go back to the coalition agreement. Again, I speak to National and New Zealand First ministers, members of the Select Committee. Are you being whipped into line to completely turn the Select Committee process into what is essentially a theatrical farce? Why is an important constitutional bill being rushed into only having 30 hours of submissions? Who made that decision? It is possible to challenge the coalition agreement. Winston Peters did that in a very clever twist of the scrum over the Inter-Island ferry. He announced that there would be an announcement on the 15th of December, and on the 15th of December, the announcement was he was going to become Minister of Railways. He managed to twist the scrum so he didn't break the coalition agreement, but he kept the essence of what was important. And for that, as South Islanders, we're grateful. So in conclusion, I'd like to talk about Trump's inauguration.
So you're down to the last 30 seconds, so just looking for your closing comment.
We were all horrified to see wealthy people paying $1 million to sit behind him on that day. This bill prepares the path for that setting to happen in this country, and it horrifies me. Thank you.
Thank you for your submission. Garry, we have met time, but appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. So thoughts on this submission?
Yeah, like, he brings up the concern about probably the oversight that's given to the minister in charge of, I think, Minister of Regulation. Is that right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I don't think he mentioned it, but there's another bit of a caveat there of concern, which is that the ability for essentially the Minister of Regulation to overrule or make exemptions based on the legislation that I gathered reading through the bill. Essentially, let's see, what have I got here? So they can issue exemption notices that can exclude entire classes of legislation, both primary and secondary, from key requirements like the CAS and board review. Those clauses 10, 14, and 19. And this potentially covers broad categories of laws, not just narrowly defined exceptional cases, giving the minister considerable discretion.
I just don't know why David Seymour would surely he knows that this is going to come back to bite him in the ass, because all you need is some idiot to come in and start.
Again, it's a sneaky one though.
He just can't see that. He's got blinders on. He's on a mission. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a sneaky one again, though, because this is quite common in principles-based legislation for them to give a minister ability to make exemptions to the law in certain cases. The issue here is it's the scope of the exemptions is much more broad than it typically is. Like it's usually narrowed down to a few cases. Parliamentary control usually requires parliamentary or special oversight, but the RSB requires a simple majority House approval.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There's the ground for exemptions are often defined or limited, like for example, urgency or sensitivity, but the RSB has no explicit limits on grounds, and any risk of overuse is typically mitigated by narrow scope and strong controls within those exemptions that the minister can provide. But again, RSB doesn't do this. I actually have some examples here, but I mean, well, okay.
Go,
for one,
off. Yep. Go,
yeah.
Yep.
Well, for example, so
show and tell.
Show and tell. So here's an example of typical exemption powers. So scope of exemption, Public Finance Act of 89. Ministers can exempt specific reporting requirements for certain Crown entities, typically no narrow and specific. RSB clauses 10 and 14. Ministers can exempt broad classes of bills or regulations potentially excluding entire types of legislation from scrutiny. Example, all treaty settlements bills.
Mm-hmm.
For example, another one would be parliamentary control. Again, the Official Information Act. Ministers' decisions can be reviewed by the Ombudsman or subject to parliamentary scrutiny with high transparency. RSB Clause 10 exemption notices require House approval by a simple majority. Again, taking effect. Before taking effect, allowing easier political passage and broad exemptions. So, yeah,
it's a scary bill.
He's just, I mean, like I might have this wrong, but like he will be the most powerfulest person in the country. I don't know whether he's been hanging with Trump too long or what, but there will be, from what I can see, whether he's in Parliament, whether he's not in Parliament, whether he's retired, whether he's dead or alive, David Seymour will be the most powerfulest person in this country, because regardless of where he is, this bill passes and he will run this country forever. It will be cemented in stone, it'll be etched in stone, and he can do whatever he likes. It's ludicrous to think that someone thinks that it's okay to have that kind of power and to just do what he pleases. It's just crazy. I just don't understand it.
Yeah. That's why I've always said this bill is authoritarian.
There's no need for other parties. There's no need for a government.
It's authoritarian.
No need for any politicians.
It's oligarchy.
Yeah.
He's speed running towards oligarchy.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, look, it's debatable whether or not he'd be the strongest in the country, but like, there's a case to be made, definitely. And his answer to that would be, as I think a lot of the defenders of this is, it needs to be approved by Parliament first. But as I stated, all it needs is a simple majority before taking effect.
Yeah. Or the people, corporate want to mine or do whatever they want to do. I mean, into this sort of
they
thing.
buy their way in.
We have the
lobbying.
So, they'll have the majority. They will always have the majority. We will all be, the minority.
Yeah. It's oligarchy. That's what this is doing. It's to all the national voters. Did you vote for Luxon to sit in the cuck chair? And be honest with yourself. Did you vote for him to go? I'll just give the reins and all the controls over to Seymour because I don't know what I'm doing. Help, my brain's made of a mouth of plastic.
Yeah, gosh, grow some balls and do so, like, for goodness sake. I mean, like, surely when St. Peter's, is not going to approve this because, I mean, the National Party, New Zealand First was started for that very reason, the corporations and everything, keeping it New Zealand, New Zealand First. So this is really interesting. It's playing out.
If Winston Peters approves this bill, right, one, it will be New Zealand last, and two, it means that he has a price tag. You can buy him out. Pretty much it will undermine the credibility of New Zealand First as a party.
Yes, you know, yeah.
So it's like New Zealand First, if you're watching this, you know, did you vote for Winston Peters to become a sellout?
Yes,
I
yeah.
hope
Yeah,
not.
be interesting. Yeah, if some of them are on here, be
I mean,
interesting to see what they have to say.
I'm already worried about what Shane Jones is doing. And look, I know the hat is triggering for some people, but come on, did you vote for these people to be sellouts?
I think
Yes,
half the
yeah.
people who might have voted for Winston Peters have probably cocked it.
Yeah, probably.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Anyways, move on time?
Yep.
Okay.